And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another week, another edition of WTL World Team League 2024 Summer Contest Round 7, day number 1. You can't see me. One second. But welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, it has been quite some time. It's been over a week since the last WTL. Of course, we took last week off from World Team League. The reason for this was because of Home Story Cup. Home Story Cup did take up last weekend, and WTL is quite fluid, quite malleable, and usually whenever there's a big event like DreamHack, like Home Story Cup, like Stars War 11, then WTL will go on a hiatus, but now we're back. Now we're here. We are back with our first match of the night with OFFSYDE Esports versus Shopify Rebellion. Here we go. We have our lineups here before you. We have uThermal versus ByuN, Rex versus Lambo, as well as Firefly versus I missed the last one. I think Harstem? in a PvP. So we have a couple of mirror matchups here ahead of us, and even though, you know, mirror matchups, like, they can be quite chaotic, and that's also why I'm sure the predictions for this is going to be out of this world as well. uThermal, his return has been really impressive. uThermal, for a long time, he was a content man, right? He was the YouTube man, the Protoss fan himself. uThermal, he was playing random, he was off racing, and that's how he showed up to this event. That's how he showed up to the WTL in the first couple of weeks. But ever since then, he's been focusing on his Terran matchup. He's cast the random to the side. He's been competing as Terran, and he's been looking damn good at it as well. I'm always reminded, it was like 2-3 weeks ago when uThermal went up against Oliveira, up against Dragon Kaizi Gaming, and uThermal looked damn good. He looked good against Oliveira of all players, who's one of the best in the world, which is crazy. So uThermal, specifically in the TVT matchup, it's his best. Straight up, like, having a look at all of his series, at all his matches, at all of his matchups, it does look like TVT is his best matchup. It's where he can thrive the most. He has a chance against ByuN. ByuN, of course, the heavy favorite. He's the ace player of Shopify Rebellion. ByuN is coming in here as the one to win it and the one to lose it. But again, uThermal, I do think he has a chance here to cause a bit of an upset and to shake things up against ByuN. I want to believe, Papi. I want to believe. And here we go. We're jumping on in, and in the bottom left, we have uThermal for OFFSYDE Esports. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have ByuN for Shopify. I'll fix up my cans. All good. I will fix them up. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you. I just didn't have the scene active. Hold on. Go ahead. Yeah. I got you. We're back. We are back. And we're jumping into the CVT for the time being. Top right hand corner, we have ByuN. We're going to be loading into Dynasty as game number 1. Let's go. One of the often vetoed maps in the map pool. Is often vetoed, but that's the amazing thing about WTL, about World Team League, is that there are no vetoes. The initial map is predetermined. It is chosen by the organizers, by the admins themselves, and it is loser's pick as well. So 0 vetoes does lead to some hyper specialized builds, does lead to a lot of upsets. In WTL, more upsets occur in this event than any other event, thanks to the format, thanks to the preparation, and loser's pick. So I do want to believe. For now, we're going to be settling in. It is going to be a double gas opener here from ByuN, likewise double gas out of uThermal. I'm curious if either player will attempt to expand at the gold base location. Well, this is curious. One of the big features of Dynasty is you have a pocket gold, but it is often unsafe to expand at the pocket gold base depending on the matchup. The reasoning for this is that it's relatively easy to harass and punish the gold base in certain matchups, right? Whether it's Adepts and Stalkers if you're up against a Protoss player, whether it's Reaper Hellion if you're up against a Terran. So likewise, I'm curious here how uThermal and ByuN approach this, whether either one takes a risk or not. For now, there's no proxies. It's going to be Rax Factory here from both uThermal and ByuN, as it was double gas openers, and this is going to be leading into an expansion. You can see ByuN, for the time being active on the right hand side, is going to be scouting. Likewise, so is uThermal, both players being as active as possible, making sure that everything's on the up and up. And we'll keep an eye peeled for where they do take their CCs. As we do see, ByuN immediately does check the gold. Likewise, again, that's why it's so difficult to take it, as it can be punished quite early on. And there it is, neither player risks the goal base. Both players will expand at the standard location. Now, usually with this setup, you don't take the gold until you have map control, until you're a little bit more secure, like on 3 bases. Maybe you take it as a 4th base instead. But typically you don't take it until later on in the game. Again, depending on the matchup, you can take it a little bit earlier, especially against Zerg players, for example. Zerg players cannot punish the gold base anywhere near as easily as a Terran or a Protoss. Not saying they can't punish it, period. They can, especially if they rush into roaches, right? Like, roach rushes are a thing, definitely in this matchup, or on this map. Likewise, getting into proxy hatches and going for these crazy all-ins. It's very chaotic. It does get very chaotic, but here in the TVT, we're just opening up in a standard fashion, getting into our Reaper Hellion, at least from uThermal. So it's going to be Reacted Reaper Hellion here from our blue Terran player. Meanwhile, ByuN opening up a little bit differently here, going into Cyclone drop instead. He's getting into his, I believe, second Cyclone, getting ready for drop play. There's a bit of a give and take here. uThermal has a lot of DPS, has a lot of firepower, has a lot of potential to get across the map and get economic damage done. At the same time, ByuN's initial force is going to be a little bit more robust. With Cyclones, we shoot up and we shoot down. We have micro potential with the medevac, of course, to be able to juggle those Cyclones, to be able to focus on some of these high-tech units. We'll see kind of how this dynamic goes as ByuN is zooming across the map, looking to go for some drop play. And will he come across the marauding force of uThermal? It looks like he barely will get eyes on at least the Reaper, and just the one. Doesn't spot the Reaper moving out, doesn't spot the rest of the army, so he does not turn around with that Cyclone. Cyclone's ahead for the main base. At the same time, we're also getting into the mineral line. We dive on the main army, boys being pulled away, but they're going to be lining up against the Hellions. And 3 SCVs go down already. Oh my god! They do bunch up. 7 SCVs going down, and uThermal here eviscerates the economy. He shuts everything down. But at the same time, we have Cyclones across the map. Likewise, uThermal he has plenty to defend. The medevac! The medevac under fire. We have the Cyclone. We have the Viking. We can shut ByuN down, and we're still getting more damage done. The boys, they're still lining up. 10 SCV kills. Mark, Bappy, keep going. Oh, at the same time, though, that's going to be 10 worker kills across the map. I was hoping that uThermal would have a little bit better defense back at home. Alas, we have almost an even trade. We have 10 SCVs for 11 workers across the map. As amazing as the Reaper Hellion harass was, looks like ByuN does almost the equivalent amount of damage across the map. So we're still quite back and forth here. You can see the worker damage is quite similar between both players. ByuN on 28 workers, uThermal's on 27, is now moving out across the map. And we'll see if he can get some damage done here at the natural base. The tank is in position. We have a Raven as well, ready for those auto turrets, ready for disables if need be. Oh, I say that disable just now starting. Interference Matrix, I should mention, is just starting up here for ByuN. So only the auto turrets. The Vikings coming in, going to be zoning away those Ravens. The Ravens are zoned away. Oh, we could even try to hunt them down. uThermal, he's on the hunt. Alas, doesn't quite find them. We only have 2 Marines on the ground to fend off these Vikings as we're looking for the Ravens. Could even threaten a Viking drop into the mineral line, but oh, we go for it. We go for the drops. Oh, but it may cost us a Viking. Yeah, 1 Viking goes down. That was not worth it here for uThermal. Almost loses a second Viking. Now with that, uThermal has to back up. Back at home, that's a second starport. And what does that mean? 2 base all in. We're setting up here for a 2 base all in. Second starport from a mass Viking. At the same time, Cyclones, they get some decent lock-ons. They don't quite get a kill. But essentially, with a double starport build, you're going into massive Viking. This leads into, I believe, a Liberator as a follow-up after you get up to like 5 or so Vikings. The goal is to get air control, and once you get air control, that one Liberator can do so much for you as it can take control of the ground. It can just zone away and punish the tanks. And of course, you can commit. The way to counteract this, if ByuN gets a read on what's going on, is to throw down his own second starport as well to try to vie for air control. It's all about that air superiority here. So uThermal, it's going to be all or nothing for the blue Terran player. Is just waiting for an extra wave of Vikings. Meanwhile, across the map, ByuN working towards Stim, building up his tank count, actually being active on the map. Does move out. Yeah, uThermal does spot the move out. He's racing back home. It is going to be pulling back. Likewise, uThermal still massing up his own army. Again, he should soon have the Viking lead. Doesn't have it quite yet, I believe. I think it's 4 versus 4. ByuN taking his third on location. Quite greedy. And that means uThermal can threaten the third base. Does move out. Runs into the tanks. is sharking around. You can see ByuN throwing down his own second starport. Oh, did I say a second? That's going to be a third starport for ByuN. Now, with triple starport production, he can catch up and then exceed uThermal. uThermal is so committed with this. Oh, does take a tank shot to the face. Oh, will take down a tank, though. Nice snipe. He gets one. And remember, he does have Interference Matrix available. Vikings diving in. Yeah, they commit to the fight. Auto Cycle thrown down as well. And the Ravens, they're going to be going down. They don't get any disables. But we take the fight in the air. Yeah, Mark, he takes down all these Vikings. Takes down the Ravens. One Raven does survive for Mark. Denies the third. Rotates around, but we still need to get more done. I say that, uThermal does have his own third CC now on the way. It's almost halfway done. Also on location. Love to see it. So he did enough. He did enough here. You know, he denies the third of ByuN, takes his own, will take an economic lead. Has the air control, still has the Viking lead. ByuN is catching up with 4 Viking production with his 3 starports. He's getting there. He needs more time. ByuN needs a little bit more time. Likewise, uThermal embracing the mech, throwing down additional factories, going tank Viking. ByuN does have the more mobile army, as remember he has Stim. I don't think has any medevac, so he can't really threaten drop play too much. He's been hyper fixated on building Vikings. So uThermal, he's safe in that sense. ByuN is rotating around, looking for, Marine run by. Going for the mineral line. A bit late to respond. And the SCVs are going to go down. Oh, we get 4 SCV kills. Now uThermal still has a worker lead. It goes to show how far ahead worker-wise he was, or he is. Okay, sieging up. uThermal still has the Viking lead. Can still bully back the army. Big tank bullies. Oh, ByuN bleeding out of tank. He has to retreat. ByuN is slowly catching up with the Viking count. We're getting there. Until then, trading 1 for 1. Everyone pulling his army together. Oh, ByuN now. 14 Vikings. 14 Vikings for ByuN. uThermal down to 11. Yeah, that's the power of the third starport. uThermal just now is making his own third starport, but it might be too late. Something that he was hoping to gain for so long here in this game, it's not there anymore. He no longer has the air control. Yeah, uThermal has to back off. And without air control, what can his tanks do? Yeah, Observer just pointing out that we're still working on that third starport. Yeah, Vikings, they go off. Oh, uThermal bleeding off a lot of Vikings. Tank siege up. Nice disables here on the tanks of ByuN. Yeah, and uThermal, he has to land. Does have to land, does have to pull back. Oh, bleeds out a tank. Now uThermal's on the back foot. ByuN, he has map control, is pushing forward, rallying everything across the map. uThermal trying to take a 4th base. Is on the way. uThermal still down 5 Vikings. ByuN, if he wanted to, he could even... I mean, he shouldn't take a risk and land, but yeah, takes out another Viking. Rotating over. Gets eyes on the gold. uThermal now making 5 Vikings at a time. He'll catch up eventually. He's getting there. He's getting there. ByuN rotates around. Additional reactors on the way. Getting ready for that 6 Viking production. Let's go. Army supplies are quite similar, but it's still a battle of the air, a battle of the skies. It's kind of what TVT turns into. The Vikings there to engage. Oh, we try to drag back to the turrets. Alas, ByuN, he doesn't chase. Takes down a tank. Tank goes down. ByuN encroaching upon the base here of uThermal. Second tank falls. And ByuN, he wants the Vikings. And uThermal, we can't take this fight. Ay, ay, ay. The turret helps a little bit here. Production is kicking in. But it's still not enough. Yeah, ByuN, he's just camping the production, camping the Vikings. Eventually, ByuN is going to get cleaned up, though. He's down to 3 Vikings. It's close. ByuN pulls back. ByuN also picked off, I want to say, 3 or 4 tanks. Still gaining ground. uThermal forced to pull back. The Marines, they stim in. They catch 2 more tanks. And now we can go for the bases. Now we can go for the mineral lines. Not quite at the 3rd. But ByuN just slowly gaining more and more ground. It was a very close, very tense start here between uThermal and ByuN, but over the past couple of minutes, it's been ByuN in control. The Vikings, they just landed the main. Yeah, they don't even care. Not anymore. The boys are being pulled. ByuN, can he hold on? He's got Bio to protect the tanks. The tanks are getting quite low. uThermal barely doesn't break out. GG gets called, and ByuN will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A very tense game. A very tense game here between uThermal and ByuN. Again, initially, uThermal, he had some momentum. He definitely had a moment, especially when he was able to deny the 3rd base of ByuN, when uThermal was able to get an economic lead as well. Unfortunately, he did fall behind in the Viking count. If you recall, ByuN, when he realized what was going on, ByuN threw down 2 more starports. He got into triple starport production pretty early on as he was taking his 3rd. And uThermal took him a little bit too long to get into that 3rd starport, so he was just perpetually behind in the Viking count, and we saw that uThermal, who's just getting bullied back without his Vikings, no air control. Without air control, he couldn't really get on top of the tanks or really fight back with his tank count. Alas, he was forced back in the end. GG, well played. Was still quite close, especially in the first, a little bit too obvious. I mean, I say that on a map like this, you may not even have to proxy play out of ByuN, but we're jumping in. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have uThermal for OFFSYDE Esports. And in the top left, we have ByuN for Shopify Rebellion. Here we go. And hello, Mr. SCV. Oh, there's a second SCV. So I was saying how I feel like proxies may be too obvious on Ghost River. Like, are we really going to embrace that? The answer is yes. The answer is, like, yo, this may be the smallest map in the map pool. This may be a very short rush distance. Proxies may be expected. Let's just embrace it anyway. Let's embrace the chaos. It's going to be 2x Reaper here out of uThermal. Meanwhile, ByuN, how safe or how greedy do we open up? It's going to be double gas. I would hope so. As the proxies are being set up. There we go, there's the second racks. Second racks on the way. Meanwhile, ByuN, are we opening up racks expand? No shot. no shot. ByuN, Papi. Okay. This is going to be ideal. ByuN should be going and setting up for a CC on the low ground after this, which means no second gas, which means delayed factory, which means there's going to be a larger window here, a bigger window where uThermal can take advantage of ByuN. So this is ideal. This is lining up for uThermal. Lining up quite nicely. Meanwhile, you can see on the minimap, yep, ByuN is going for his expand. So racks expand, economic, greedy opener, especially on this map. We spoke about it. Aggression is expected on Ghost River. And ByuN, yeah, he's going for the CC. So the important part of this, as we did mention, is that the factory is delayed and the Hellion, as a result, is going to be delayed as well. Which means there's going to be a chance where uThermal, when he gets into the main, he could actually get on top of the building factory and deny it. He could delay mining and force the boys to be pulled. ByuN is checking. Up! He checks, he scouts, he knows. Whew. Okay, he now knows what's going on. Now he can prepare. He has to pull the boys. He has to pull the boys here to buffer for the Reaper. There we go. The boys are already being pre-pulled. That's a lot of boys. But a big reaction out of ByuN. So important here that he does a buffer for his Reaper. He's ready. He's on the high ground. Oh, and he takes down the Reaper already. Ay, ay, ay. Big moment here for ByuN. He shuts down the first Reaper, and suddenly you thought we cancel the CC. ByuN cancels the command center, he throws down the factory, he takes down one Reaper. So far, a clinical defense here out of ByuN. Very nicely done. That window that we spoke about for uThermal, it's closing quite quickly. Factory has completed. Cyclone now on the way. And uThermal's being forced out. And yeah, uThermal, he's transitioning. Is transitioning back at home. If this wasn't scouted, different story. But again, ByuN, he was so quick to scout, so quick to react and respond. We do delay the CC. uThermal still getting some damage done. Going for the Marines. Gets one Marine. Oh. Gets a second Marine as well. For the cost of a Reaper, but he shuts down all the units. He's getting into the mineral line. Not bad. We get a second SCV and again a big delay on the command center. He will be cleaned up. He gets a third worker, just barely. uThermal making the best out of a bad situation. And back at home, we're expanding. Back at home, uThermal is going to try to bounce back and catch up. And we're going to calm things down. Whew. We are going to calm things down. uThermal is floating back. But again, just a really strong start for ByuN. I mean, sure, he lost some workers and his CC was delayed, but just a very impressive response here out of the Korean Terran. Yeah, the racks will burn down. And now ByuN has momentum, right? He has a faster Cyclone or faster Cyclone production. Getting ready for his drop. Likewise, so is uThermal. Medevacs are on the way. Oh my god, uThermal double expanding. that is a third CC in the main, by the way. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, if you're in a rough position and uThermal is in a rough position, you have to take a risk. You have to take a risk, you have to take a chance. And we're going straight into that third CC to catch up and to get ahead. Bold move here by uThermal, but we have to make these moves in this situation. Whether it's hyper aggression or hyper greed, like one or the other, like an extreme is required. Meanwhile, ByuN, his own third CC, not too far behind that of uThermal, which again, impressive. That ByuN feels confident enough to go for his own third. uThermal's is faster. Can take his own base that much quicker as well. Meanwhile, here come the Cyclone drops. We got one rotating over towards the main of uThermal. uThermal's still yet to move out himself. As we do slip in, we go for the mineral line. Marines get shut down, but uThermal is in position. So far, very nice juggling, very nice defense. uThermal doesn't lose any SCVs, just Marines. Their bases are finishing up. uThermal, despite opening up with the medevac, has been more defensive with it. There we go, setting up his tank in the main before moving out. And the pressure is on ByuN, going for a multi-prong attack. He's going for the Cyclone jump into the main, and ooh, the first Cyclone goes down, getting one SCV. Likewise, you have a Raven headed towards the natural. At the same time, uThermal also headed for the main base of ByuN. We'll get eyes on the third CC timing. We'll be aware. Upon seeing this third, uThermal should be the first to actually land on location. Should be aware that he's safe to do so. Plays the racks, pulls back. Once again, second starport on the way for uThermal. It looks like uThermal's going to play mech again. Does seem to be the case. Meanwhile, ByuN, once again, just like the previous game, is working towards stim and additional raxes. So bio tank out of ByuN and mech out of uThermal. Yeah, there's a second factory. But meching it up again. And I mean, again, it can be a quite efficient army. Obviously, it's slow, it's immobile, but it is a good way to try to bounce back. Oh, as 4 Marines go down, we focus on SCVs. Get, oh my god, 3 of them. Jesus. It's a lot of SCVs in a short period of time. But yeah, if we can turtle up and get into our mech composition, we can stabilize. Eventually we can catch up and slow the game down. ByuN picks off another SCV. Jumping on top of the tank, gets punished for it, gets shut down. Nice movement out of uThermal. So uThermal's going to be investing quite heavily here into these Vikings. We have 3 Vikings being made at a time, 2 tanks. So once again, just like the last game, Viking tank. Now, this time, ByuN isn't looking to meet uThermal in the Viking. Oh, no! Oh, that's the medevac falls. The medevac and the Cyclone. What I was going to say is that ByuN, he's not looking to meet uThermal in that Viking count as he saw in the previous game, where ByuN, he just threw down like three starports and went mass Viking and took air control away from uThermal. Instead, we're just relying heavily here on a bio army. More Raxes, more Marines. ByuN looking to overwhelm. It does threaten to drop. Okay, calm down. Does threaten drop play. Scan reveals the army composition. ByuN waiting for his upgrades. 1-1 just finished. Getting a 4th. And ByuN, you can see that he's rotating around and headed for the main. Uh-oh. There's not much in position. We do have some missile turrets, but not much else. As the boys are main-narding over. A bit of a misrally, yeah. A bit of a misrally. Or just a big reaction from the auto turret. But they're coming back. And here comes the Doom Drop into the main. We're getting into the mineral line. Came with the production. Came with the starports. Yeah, starports are under fire. Lead out some medevacs. But we get 8 SCVs. 8 workers. The add-ons. Then potentially some starports as well. Potentially. Oh, the disables come in. uThermal will clean this up. No, without losing another tank. Just barely one more tank goes down. And uThermal will defend. And he didn't lose too much here. He lost 8 workers. He lost a reactor, a tech lab. It could have been worse. uThermal, he does hold. And ByuN threw away, what was that, 3 tanks and 3 medevacs? It's quite a bit of supply there. Quite a bit of gas. Now you can see even ByuN shaking his head for a moment. Not really content with this trade. And uThermal holds. He holds, he shuts down the Raven. uThermal still maintains a heavy, just air control with so many Vikings. ByuN's not going to be able to catch up, not anytime soon. So far, so good. ByuN going for another drop. Looks like once again headed for the main. Taking another base. ByuN mass expanding. It's kind of the ebb and flow of bio versus mech, where ByuN has the better economy, has a cheaper army, can rebuild and remax faster. uThermal, he has to be in position and he will catch a medevac. Ooh, does barely catch one. Oh, the Raven. Raven goes down. Once again, ByuN making the best out of it. Does lose a full drop, but gets the Raven. Also, I don't know if you saw a glimpse of the main, but uThermal, he's got a field of turrets in his main now. He's like, never again, Papi, never again. He's got like 8 turrets in his main base. It's beautiful. But uThermal is doing quite well for himself here. Like, we have another field of turrets over his 3rd. Pushing forward. Liberator has arrived. All it takes is one. One lib with air control and you can force back those tanks. uThermal gaining ground. And it looks like we can barely pick off one of the... Oh, barely not. But almost a tank. Meanwhile, ByuN making 8 Vikings at a time. He's still going to catch up. Big disables here on the tanks. We do siege up the bio army. Dust him in. Yeah, even from behind. ByuN taking down so many tanks. The surround is just a little bit too good. GG gets called. uThermal gets caught out in the center of the map. And ByuN will take it. GG. That escalated very quickly. Just in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, uThermal, again, he was a little bit late to siege. Always a little fun to watch. But I'm excited. I'm ready for this ZVZ coming up ahead of us. Rex, if you were here 2 weeks ago, was it 2 or 3 weeks, with OFFSYDE Esports versus Basilisk, Rex, he flexed a very creative build. It was the week before Home Story Cup, I believe. Rex versus Rainer on post-youth. If you know, you know. Like Rex, he popped off. He went for a 12 full drone pull on post-youth, and he caught Rainer completely by surprise. Rainer was not ready for it whatsoever. It was a crazy build. It was a wild build. basically on post-youth, there are mineral patches. There's 2 ramps coming into your main. There's a ramp on the left, and there's mineral patches on the right. And Raynor, he saw the 12 pool coming, so he walled off the ramp, but he wasn't ready for the drones to rock up and to mine through the minerals on the right-hand side, so the wall meant nothing. Rex, he flooded in, and then he got into the bases. Spine callers were on the way. Here we go. Oh, as we're settling into our next series. And spawning in the top left-hand corner for OFFSYDE Esports, we have Rex. And in the bottom left, we have Lambo for Shopify Rebellion. Let's go. You can cast the right way, man. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I know what that means, but I'm glad you think so, Papi. I'm glad you think so. Oh. As we are settling in. I know I have certain tendencies. Like when I'm casting, I always try to fixate on the positive. I don't know if you notice, but whenever someone makes a mistake, I always try to like praise the person that did well instead of focusing on what someone did poorly, for example. Like there are little things that I do like that affects how I cast. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Do appreciate it. As we're settling in, for now it's gonna be hatch first. Okay. No 12 pool this time, but we're loading into Amphion, a very different map. Amphion, of course, is known for the triangular third base setup, is very defendable. You can be quite greedy on this map as well. We've seen a lot of players go gasless. We've seen a lot of 2-base roach play as well. I'm curious if either player embraces this. What I'm referring to is that into the natural base is a ramp. There's a ramp coming into the natural. This is a feature that's also on side delta. It's a feature on post youth as well. And because of this feature, you can be a little bit greedier. This can lead into like 2-base Spire play, 2-base Muta, in the ZVZ matchup specifically. So I'm curious if either one embraces that or if we just go for a standard third base instead. We shall see. As for now, hatch gas pool, standard openers, pal. Standard openers. Late predictions because there was someone at the door. Oh, predictions are open. If you're curious, predictions are open in the chat. Place your bets. Get your gamba going. Game focus, not storyline focus. I try to talk about the storyline sometimes. it depends. It depends. For now, we are settling in. Link speed on the way for both players. Should be on the way here for Rex. So do keep our eyes on him. Rex? Never mind. So Rex, he's skipping Ling speed, which tells us that he most likely wants to play two base Roach. Yeah, there we go. We do have the lair on the way. So Rex is skipping Ling speed. Lair is on the way. We should be walling up with a Roach Warren with an Evo chamber at the ramp. We did speak about this leading into the game, about how this map specifically, because of the features of Amphion, because of the ramp, you can play two base a lot more effectively. And there's the Evo chamber, there's the wall off that we're working with. Now the pressure is on Lambo to get a read on what's going on. This could be a couple of different things. This could be a Nidus-based all-in on two bases. This could just be for fast Roaches into Roach speed. Ooh, as we have misplaced our Evo chamber. This could be two-base Muta, like if we take all of our gases, we could just go into Spire play. There's a lot available here for Rex, and Lambo has to try to piece it together. Lambo does confirm the Roach Warren, so he's fully aware that we're not playing standard. Likewise, Lambo takes a third, so he will have the economic advantage. Roach Warren's on the way for Lambo, so he's keeping up. If it were Roaches, he'd have that available. And Rex is mining through the minerals on the left-hand side. Again, this is the power of this map as... Oh, there's the Nidus! Let's go! It's going to be a two-base Nidus all-in. This is one of the possibilities that it could be. Again, I mentioned it could have been Spire play, could have been two-base into fast Roach speed into a third. Could have been for some crazy Drop-a-Lord, but no, it's going to be the Nidus instead. And Lambo has yet to really recognize what's going on. I love that Rex is mining through the minerals, by the way, because it makes it look like he wants to expand. Right? Like, I was about to praise him. I was about to say, yo, he wants to expand. And Lambo also saw those drones as well with the Overlord. So he might think it's a macro game. Thankfully, Lambo's making Roaches. You can see, oh, but he's making drones as well. Lambo's droning. He's droning, Bobby. He has a safety amount of Roaches, but he has invested in workers. He's making more drones. No. Links, get in. Now he knows. Massive scout here. Lambo is not aware of what's going on. But how does he respond? Is it too late? Nidus Swarm does finish. Lambo in the main base. Does misread. And we're at least going for the third. And Rex does have the supply advantage. Does have the queens. Does catch one. Queen goes down. Roaches as well. Lambo is in trouble. And can Rex break through? It's going to be close. Another Nidus. Nice right here, right in the face of Lambo. Boys are being pulled. Reinforcements on the way. It's going to be close. Do we have a transfuse? We barely do not. It looks like with the help of the drones, with the Ling reinforcements, Lambo is going to clean this up. It was close, Papi. I was worried that we had maybe droned up too much, but no, Lambo, he shuts this down. Shuts down the Nidus, the Roaches. Bleeds out 5 drones, but that's acceptable losses. Like, Lambo has a massive worker lead. And Rex barely didn't have enough. Again, thankfully, Lambo did make safety roaches early on. He was droning, but he made, like, I think it was like 5 roaches, like 5 or 6 roaches initially before he droned. And that did help. Yeah, now Lambo's going to shut this down. Like, yeah, we were completely all in. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Lambo. As Lambo, he stutter sets forward. And GG gets called. Lambo, he survives the all-in and takes game 1. GG. GG, well played. I appreciate the build out of Rex. I appreciate that he was faking out a third as well. Like, there were layers. There were these little, like, details that Rex was going for, which I appreciated. Unfortunately, it's a worrisome thing to try to go for cheese 2 games in a row. So, does that mean we get a longer macro game? We're here to find out. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of our Kione, we have Rex for OFFSYDE Esports. And in the bottom left, we have Lambo for Shopify Rebellion. Let's go. Let us go. Oh, we're top pulling. Let's go. Okay. Immediately I saw there's no overload on the way. There's no overload because we're going for the spawning pool. It's going to be a 12 pull here out of Rex. Now, there are different variations. There are different variations of 12 pull. We could just be going for a 12 pull into an expansion, right? It could just be a macro opener. It could be 12 pull into a drone pool, which would be a 1 base all in, where you just pull the boys with all your lings and go for a spine rush. So we have options. We have options here for Rex. I'm curious what we embrace. As Lambo's going hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of Lambo. For now, we're just banking up that larva. Overlord has spawned in. Spawning pool's about to finish. And the lings are on the way. Rex going for a gas? Ooh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's not a drone pool. It's not a drone pool variation. He's expanding, but that was an early gas geyser. Usually with the 12 pool. Okay, I love this. So there's a lot going on. So we're going into a bit of a longer game, into an all-in. So usually with the 12 pool, you make like your first wave of lings, you reinforce a little bit, you harass across the map, and then you pull back. And because it's a 12 pool, you open up gasless, and it leads into 2-base roach. It leads into a 2-base play where you wall off, your opponent takes a third, they take the economic lead, and they skip bailings, and they go into roaches as well. With that fast gas geyser, it looks like Rex wants to go into a ling flood follow-up to try to catch Lambo off guard. I'm really curious as to what that gas is going to be used for, whether it's going to be for ling speed or something different. Meanwhile, lings have arrived. Lambo has to drone drill his heart out, and Rex, he's not droning, he's still making lings. Okay. Rex. I mean, so far we're holding quite nicely. Like, Lambo doesn't lose much. His drones are very low, though. They're very low, and there's ling speed on the way. So Rex is going 12 full into a fast gas, into a ling speed follow-up to try to catch his opponent off guard with the ling flood. Because usually the aggression ends here. Like, usually 12 pools like this are more macro oriented, and we should be droning. We're not droning. We're not droning up, papi. So basically the goal here for Rex is to try to catch Lambo droning. And Lambo is droning. You can see on the production tab. Lambo, he's droning up, he's getting ready for a longer game. He's expecting a longer game, and Rex should be hiding his lings, his reinforcing lings until ling speed finishes. He should be banking them up. I would love to see the main base, or the natural even, and where the lings are. But basically, Rex, he's hiding his lings, and he's getting ready to pull the trigger. We did scout 2 additional lings, though. Lambo did drone up to 24. We can see that Lambo has yet to take a third, has not expanded. Lambo's making his own links. Okay, so we can see Rex is banking up his links for the link flood. Lambo, he doesn't take the bait. He's making his own links. And this is a good read from Lambo. Very good read. Again, the ideal for Rex is Lambo being too greedy, but Lambo, he's not droning, Pappy, or he stopped. And Rex doesn't have the biggest army advantage here, not anymore. Yeah, Queens, they come down. You can see Lambo, he's hiding his own links. He hides his own links as well. He collapses on the army, and Lambo, he has plenty. The Queens do get surrounded. Yeah, Rex, he shuts down the Queens. Boys are being pulled. It's still going to be close. Rex does have the better concave. He's breaking through the links. He's getting on top of the Queen. The final Queen goes down. Can Rex pull this off? Again, still no link speed out of Lambo. But he barely has enough. He's barely holding. That's all he needs to do. More Queens are on the way. More links as well. Lambo now has link speed of his own. And again, if Lambo had not made as many links as he did, like, he'd be dead 100%. It'd be over. Oh, the surround. We attempt to surround. Alas, Rex. Unable to. Yeah, he's getting shut down. And in a longer game, Rex is just being overwhelmed. He doesn't have the economy. He's still on 12 drones. I do really love this build, though, out of Rex. like the mind games are real with this build. Like, again, it's meant to play with the 12 pool, with the expectations of a 12 pool, and kind of subvert them in a pretty big way. But Lambo, again, playing it safe. Read Rex really well, and is shutting this down. Rex going for the surround, picks off a couple of links. The link counts are still comparable, but Lambo has almost double the worker count. So macro-wise, he should be able to just surpass that of Rex. Has rebuilt the Queens. Links once again punishing Rex, and the writing is on the wall. GG gets called, and Lambo takes the 2-0. GG, and with that 2-0, Shopify Rebellion will win the series. Oh, he's out of here. They will win the series. GG, well played. I mean, pretty good showing here by Shopify, but a shout out to both uThermal and Rex in these first two matches because they played quite well. I love the builds. Like, again, I mentioned before that I was ready to see what Rex had prepared, and very clearly Rex in game 1 and in game 2 had specialized builds, right? Like, he had very prepared, unique builds for both game 1 and game 2. Unfortunately, Lambo was able to scout earlier in game 1, and here in game 2, Lambo played it safe. He played it very safe against the 12-pool follow-up, getting ready for his own link flood, and having to shut down the all-in that Rex was building up towards. So they're just really smart and safe play out of Lambo. Meanwhile, uThermal and ByuN, again, whether it was game 1 or game 2, like, uThermal had his own moments, right? He had his own moments. He had a really strong start in game 1 against ByuN, where he had the advantage, where he had the base lead. Game 2 was a rough start, but uThermal was stabilizing with mech, had a really rough fight, and everything ended. That sort of stuff, or see what gets seen or not. Beating. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew. It looks like we have found our players. We have returned. We are mid-series, or towards the tail end of our first series of the night of Shopify Rebellion versus OFFSYDE Esports, and Harstem is rocking a new haircut. Hello. That's the first thing I realized. Harstem rocking his new fade, getting ready here for his PvP. Likewise, Firefly has arrived as well. I'm sure I'm ready for what he has in store for us as well. For those who are maybe unaware as to our players here, Firefly has been on fire over the past year, even longer of play, especially in WTL. He was the ace player of the Starving Camels, he was the ace player of Platinum Heroes, and now I would say that he's the ace player of OFFSYDE Esports. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have Firefly for OFFSYDE Esports. And in the bottom right, we have Harstem for Shopify Rebellion. If there were ever a player to put a point on the board for their team for OFFSYDE Esports, it would be Firefly, but it is a PvP, it is a very chaotic matchup. We have seen Firefly take it to players like Hero and Classic and these other top tier Protosses in the past. Can he do it again here in the Team League? I'm going to believe he can, but again, Harstem, likewise, also a very strong player in his own right. Was also recently competing in Home Story Cup over the weekend. Is in form in the lead up to the Esports World Cup. Let's see what direction we take us in. The captain versus the camel. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, Pat. Who comes out on top, the camel or the captain? So now it's going to be a double gas opener. Double gases. We're getting into our 2 gate openers as well. No one is going for any kind of risky gate expand. I know that Firefly was playing a lot with the max packs opener. He was playing a lot with gate expands. But it looks like over the past month, we've kind of eased up on that and gone for more 2 gate openers instead. We're calming down. It was a bit of a trend that Firefly was on for 1, maybe 2 months earlier this year, where he was going for these gate expands like max packs, but again has calmed things down in that respect. And we're going for mirrored openers. Are going for mirrored builds. With this, we should be getting into Stalker Sentry openers. We'll see if either one goes something more aggressive like double Adept or double Stalker. We'll keep an eye on our players as we have our Cyber Cores, and we have our answer. Okay, Harstem going for a proxy right outside his base. The Observer hasn't noticed yet, but it's going to be Stalker into a Robo almost in the center of the map. With that, Harstem's going for the all-in. It's going to be a 1-base all-in out of Harstem. We can see the Firefly. He's looking for the second pylon. Second pylon is not where it should be. So this is a very cheeky proxy location. So a standard opener out of Firefly does open up double Stalker. And you can see Firefly with the probe. He's looking for the proxy. He's looking for the pylon. Where is it? Where could it be? Alas, he barely misses it as it's in the center of the map, not on the edge. So a very cheeky position here for Harstem. Hiding it in plain sight in a way. Dead set in the middle. Or close enough. Meanwhile, you can see Firefly is checking the left-hand side as well. We've got probes on the right. We've got stalkers on the left. Firefly desperately looking for the proxy. Alas, he won't find it. Oh, and Firefly, he's expanding. He throws down a Stargate. Has yet to really confirm how much danger he's in. With a Stargate opener, we can go for a defensive Void Ray. True. That's gonna help. At least a bit. But this is gonna hit like a truck. It's gonna hit quite hard. And now we know! Now he realizes. The Immortal is revealed. 1-base all-in is upon us. And Firefly, can he even defend his natural? I'm not so sure he can. It's gonna be a close hold. We're going for a Phoenix. Okay, that can work. I was thinking Void Ray, but Phoenix can also CC the Immortal and lift it up, and crowd control, of course. We have potential. Shield battery's on the way, the base itself under fire. Oof. We force a cancel. No shield battery. Phoenix does come in, and can we shut down the Immortal? We can! Oh, it's gonna be close. So one more volley, and the Immortal barely goes down. Very nice pick off. We shut down the Immortal. We get on top of this. We get on top of the Prism, and it goes down. We deny the warp in. Oh my God! GG gets called. Firefly. He barely shuts down the Immortal, the Prism. Oh, what do you have? Drink up. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, he's dying. Oh, someone save it. What does this mean? I don't know. But GG, well played. Firefly, he shuts down the all-in and he takes game number 1. GG, papi, GG. If anyone could explain what we just saw. I do know there was a meme amongst the Koreans. I don't know if you remember the ceremony. But there's like a saying in Korea where something is like as smooth as like honey or something, and they used to have like a in Pro League and in GSTL, they would have like a honey drink that if they beat someone to say that it was easy, they would drink that. This was very different though. Regardless, GG, well played. As Harstem is looking to bounce back, his map of choice, Crimson Court. Let's go. I'm confused, but I like it. I like it as well. I like it. Hey, nobody. Well, this isn't Korean. This is very different. This is very different. I just do remember it reminded me of that ceremony at least. But now we're settling in. I'm gonna be getting me. Yo, Firefly, he's already popping up. I mean, hey, he's already taken a map, right? Like, his team, Shopify Rebellion, they've already won the league. Oh, I said league. They've already won the series. They've already won and taken the entire series here, but there's a little bit less pressure on Firefly, but already popping up, taking the first game. Can he take the 2-0? I mean, it will affect his MMR. It will affect his ELO standing here in WTL. Likewise, we'll earn him extra money as well, for those that are curious. So these individual map wins do matter. There's a little bit less weight behind it because, again, they won't be able to win the series, but there's extra money on the line. There's a map score as well, which can affect standing, and likewise it does affect your overall ELO, which will affect your ability to be invited into Masters Coliseum, which is a big event that takes place after the season of WTL. For those that are maybe unaware, throughout the course of WTL, players, they accumulate WTL points depending on their wins. But now we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Firefly for OFFSYDE Esports. And in the top right, we have Harstem for Shopify Rebellion. Whew, here we go. Firefly, so happy. He is so happy. But now we're getting into our next game. Firefly moving out with the Probe Scouts. These rooms are light mode versus dark mode energy. They kind of are, yes. It isn't just the rooms. I mean, Firefly also has the white shirts. You know, Harstem also has the black shirt, right? The light and the dark. The yin and the yang. The smudge and the happy. I don't For now, 2-gate openers. It's going to be a 2-gate opener out of Firefly, 2-gate opener out of Harstem. So far, both players are mirroring each other once again. I can't imagine that Harstem's going for another proxy and another all-in in game 2. I imagine we're going to be calming things down a little bit and easing our way into the rest of the series. Into a longer macro game. Didn't know Harstem was a Sith, Poppy. Huh? He does deal in absolutes. He hates sand. And Firefly loves it. I don't... Aye. As interesting, okay, so we do have a Sentry Stalker opener out of Harstem, double Stalker opener out of Firefly. Again, Sentry Stalker openers have become a little more common nowadays, just because of the most recent patch, because of the recent buff to the Sentry. Is a very safe way to open up, and it allows you to scout your opponents and make sure that there's no all-in, to make sure that you're able to get a read on the tech of your opponent, getting into a longer game. So very safe and nowadays a meta start out of Harstem. Meanwhile, Firefly a little bit more aggressive with the initial Stalkers. The pylon block will delay the expansion, and Firefly is the first to take his natural. Okay. So Firefly will have a slightly better economy. Do have a Robo follow-up out of Harstem. Interesting. Twilight counts out of Firefly. So we're going to have a very different dynamic here. With the Twilight Council, Firefly will have a more mobile army with Blink Stalkers. With Blink, we can, dance in between the bases, we can poke and prod and out-micro our opponents. Meanwhile, Harstem going for the Robo does give him access to faster Immortals. Immortals mean that your army is going to be more robust, more defendable, and we can actually hit a pretty strong timing with like 3 Immortals, move out across the map. Can lead into aggression. As the Robo is now done. And we're going for the Prism first. Now, typically with a faster Warp Prism, as the Hallucination is about to confirm the tech, with a faster Warp Prism, we can get into Adept Harass. The way this works is that you get across the map, you warp into some Adepts, and Adept Harass is quite common in PvP, but we see, more often than not, it's difficult to get into the main base because your opponent is most likely keeping up and walling off, right? You just wall off the ramp, and you deny any kind of Adepts into the main. The Prism helps with that, as you can just drop straight into the mineral line. But we do confirm the Prism. Good scouting here from Firefly. He does get eyes on the War Prism. Harstem doubling down, getting into Immortal production. Does move out. Back at home, Firefly getting ready. And Harstem, he's setting up for an all-in. So it isn't just Immortal production, we have Glaives on the way. This doesn't scale too well into a longer game. This is designed to hit quite hard. Just mass Immortal Glaive Adepts. Glaive Adepts, they do a great job when it comes to buffering for the Immortals and also outpositioning your opponent. You can shade past the army into mineral lines, eviscerate the economy, or just stand their ground and be there for the Immortals. So once again, aggression from Harstem. And we'll see if Firefly can keep up. As Firefly thankfully throws down his own Robo, 2 more gateways, a Forge. I am concerned though if Firefly takes a 3rd base. I'm going to be concerned as Harstem is building up. Prism makes it back home. Firefly, he's checking with Hallucination. He confirms that there is no 3rd base from his opponent. Does get eyes on the gateway explosion, just barely here at the natural. Sees neutral gateways. He should have seen the Adepts. And yeah, we're getting ready. Yeah, Firefly, he knows. You can see in the production tab, a line of cannons and shield batteries are on the way. He now realizes that his opponent is a 2-base all-in. And we get more pylons, more shield batteries. Is it going to be enough? Can we defend? Can we survive? As one way or another, the game is about to end. Either Harstem kills Firefly or he dies trying. Now, Harstem can make a choice. He's about to get eyes on the wall, like the wall of Protoss here with cannons and shield batteries. We could just back off and expand, and we are expanding. Harstem, he's taking a 3rd. Does take a 3rd base, which means Harstem doesn't have to commit. He could just try to back off and macro out of this. Forge is on the way for Harstem. The downside, though, is that, again, Firefly is scaling better into a longer game. He's got faster +1, soon to be +2. Like, just containing Firefly is not going to be enough. We'll see. Ooh, as Firefly sharking around, but he's spotted! Oh, he is spotted. Leads out a Stalker. At the same time, Prism does get pounced with the force fields as well! Firefly zones away the army, shuts down the Prism, denies any reinforcements. And the aggression has subsided. Now Firefly starts up +2, and he can move out. Can move out. Harstem, he's in a bit of trouble. He has to be very careful not to be caught out in the center of the map. Is making another Warp Prism. Dark Shrine on the way. Let's go. DTs for Firefly. They'll zoom across the map. Gets eyes on the army. I believe he does confirm the 3rd base. And Firefly, how does he catch up? He's taking the center 3rd instead. With the high yield gas geyser. Firefly moving out. Prism into the main. Main armies to engage. Pulling back, and we get Adepts right into the mineral line. Harstem not quite ready for this. Probes are going down. Quite a lot. 5 workers fall, 6 probes even. At the same time, Harstem, he collapses on the main army. Show us the main fight! Up! We got force fields. The Immortals, they're not coming into play. Yeah, the force fields are too good. The Immortals of Harstem, they barely engage. They're caught in the back line. At the same time, though, that's 4 Immortals. There's a lot of firepower here. Yeah, we get on top of the Nexus. That's going to be a cancel on the base. Yeah, the 3rd is denied. Very nice push here by Harstem. As I mentioned before, like, Harstem has so much pushing power with all these Immortals. At the same time, the DC's coming! Oh my god! The Invisible Man has arrived. We're going for the Robo. The pylon, there's 2 pylons. Yeah, we're okay. There's 2 pylons. The Robo will stay powered. 5, 6 probe kills so far. And a DT waddles into the natural, and the 3rd, we're not done! Probes are still going down. Oh, we're crippling the economy. I mean, Harstem was already all in earlier, now he has to commit. We gotta push. How do we? Oh, the Prism gets shut down. Very nice snipe from Harstem. That's still 14 probe kills. Did I say 14? 15, 16! 16 workers go down. Firefly checking to see if the army's still there. Does engage. Does force field the army, trying to look down some of these immortals. Unable to, bleeding out a lot of stalkers. Again, the immortals, they just dish out so much damage here. Like, look at the army supply for Harstem. It's massive. Does have a massive army. And despite losing all those probes, Harstem, he still maintains the economic lead. Yeah, Harstem, he may just have too much. Yeah, stalkers are going down left and right. Does pick off one immortal, finally. One immortal goes down, but we're still running out of stalkers. Yeah, Harstem, he's looking to overwhelm. Breaking on through, getting on top of the third base once again. And even with losing all those workers, Harstem, he can still maintain himself. He's breaking through, and he is looking to redeem himself after game one. Shuts down the third. GG gets called, and Harstem ties it up 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Harstem does clean things up here for himself and for his team. Shopify will win the series 5-1. But a shout out to Firefly because, hey, he put a point on the board. As I mentioned before, Firefly is the ace player of his team, and you can always rely upon him to at least take a game. Regardless of who he's up against, he will make them bleed. And Firefly did hold his own. Alas, GG, Shopify will take the series. Shout out to the Offside boys, as they did do their best, and a lot of those games were close. You know, despite the scoreline, uThermal did well, Rex did well. Like, there was some wild builds, some crazy games. And I hope they're not too disappointed with their performances, and I look forward to seeing them next week. Meanwhile, we're going to be going on a short break. You can see the timer right there on the bottom right. Going on a short break. When we return, Platinum R8 versus Starlight Twinkle. We'll see you soon.